Welcome to CSX in the Kitchen. I'm Julene Jordan, and my guest tonight, Chef Bob Gordon from 220 Merrill in Birmingham. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, very excited. And a restaurant that I haven't been to, but I will definitely come to because you've been telling me all about it, and I have friends who are frequent flyers at 220 Merrill in Birmingham. And tell us a little bit about the restaurant.
Well, 220 Merrill is located in downtown Birmingham. It is a new American cuisine restaurant. You know, we do we have a menu that has something for everyone. Everything from we do some great prime hand-cut steaks. We do a nice roasted whole organic chicken to some great signature house pastas. So we got a little something for everybody.
And how did you end up at 220 Merrill?
Well, 220 Merrill, you know, I've always I came from another sector where it came from a little bit more corporate structure, and I wanted to get back into having a little bit more influence on the menu and having let my creativity and some of my influences be more prominent, and have some influence on the menu. So that's kind of why I decided to come.
And you're the executive chef. We're really honored to have you here. What are you making for us?
Today we're going to do a braised lamb shank, and we're going to serve that with wild mushroom risotto and some roasted root vegetables.
Okay, well, let's get started. What's first?
Let's start off. We're going to braise this lamb shank. So what we're going to do is we're going to season the lamb shank with just a little bit of salt and pepper like that. We got a nice hot pan here ready to go. So we're just going to put a little bit of oil in there and get it ready.
Any particular oil?
I use a blended oil. It's about 75-25% vegetable oil and olive oil.
Okay.
Nice blend there. We're going to get pan obviously nice hot. We want to sear this right here. Get it nice
and
pan,
searing,
nice and hot.
Tell us about searing. What is searing?
With the searing, what we're doing is a braise here, and it's actually a combination cooking technique where we're going to first start it in a nice hot pan, and we're going to cook it and get some nice color on the outside, generate some caramelization, and get some nice color on the outside of it, and then we're going to incorporate some vegetables to really develop some depth of flavor and some herbs, and then we're going to cover it in a stock. And we're going to slow cook it in the oven for a couple hours till it gets real nice and tender and starts to fall off the bones. So.
And tell us about braising. What are the benefits of braising?
Well, with the benefits of braising is that you don't have to stand over it and spend a lot of time with it. I mean, we're just going to do a quick sear on this, and then the rest of the time it's done in the oven, so it's pretty simple. I mean, you could do it in a crock pot and set it for 6-8 hours, go to work, come back, and it's ready to go. So it's very easy. It's a very easy cooking technique. So
great. I think people are intimidated by it. It's like braising,
Yeah, no, it's it's one of the more easy techniques, because it's not really super precise. You're just going to want to get a little color on the outside, like I said, and I mean just let the time and temperature do its thing. So.
Okay, so tell us about your journey a little bit. How long have you been cooking?
I've been cooking now for almost 25 years.
Wow.
And yeah, I started when I was about 14 years old in the restaurant business, like most of us. As dishwasher, and working our way up, and eventually, I mean, once it's the environment of the kitchen, I think if it grabs you, it grabs you. It's just one of the things that got to be in your blood, And it definitely grabbed me right from the beginning, the camaraderie in the kitchen and just that fast-paced environment. I've always been interested in the arts, and I can't really draw anything very well, So this is definitely my artistic outlet, with as far as. With creating and the plating, so
you go into your zone.
Absolutely, it's very enjoying for me. I really enjoy it a lot.
What would you say your favorite type of cuisine is to prepare?
I'm definitely American cuisine, regional American.
Yeah.
I like to go around. Definitely, I like. Like this, like something like this, like a nice braised lamb shank, or something. I like to use local ingredients. Anything that we can use that's from the area always makes it nice. I like working with some of the local farmers, using some of their product, featuring that. It's always great. So that's kind of what I'm inspired by, the ingredients and the season. So
right. Explain the shank.
The shank is actually it comes from the leg. It's the lower part, cut right above the. Right above the ankle. It's a underutilized cut. It's a little bit tougher, obviously, because there's a lot of the muscle gets a lot of use. So that's what makes the muscle a little tougher. But it also has a lot of flavor in it, and that's the trick is kind of coercing the flavor out of it here. We're going to sear it like that. So we got a little bit of color on it, like right now. It's looking pretty good. So now we're going to get the next layer going.
Okay.
This is some Mirepoix here, which is basically just some carrot, celery onion. I have some garlic cloves in there.
Okay.
We're going to get that going. Take care of that for me. So we're going to kind of cook that down with it.
And Mirepoix is pretty standard.
Yeah, it's a pretty standard. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's just, like I said, basically 2 parts onion to 1 part carrots and celery.
Okay.
And it's just going to add, what we're doing here is just adding layers of flavor. So we got that rolling. And while we're doing this, we can start our risotto. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to, we got a nice hot pan here, so I'm going to get that going.
Great.
And
tell us about the rice.
The rice risotto. The rice that we use in traditional risotto is an arborio rice, which is a short grain rice. Has a nice starch content to it. Risotto is more of a technique than actually a lot of people think it's risotto is the rice, but it's not. It's the technique of cooking the rice.
And explain the technique.
The technique that we're going to use is that you're going to ladle in this stock slowly. We're going to incorporate this nice chicken stock slowly until it evaporates and so that it gets really, really nice and creamy.
Okay.
So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of garlic and shallots in there. Let's start
Yum.
that.
A little more oil. I haven't had risotto in so long. I'm really excited about this because you have these beautiful mushrooms. You have several different types here.
Yeah, we have some local Maitake mushrooms that were sourced locally, and we also have some shiitake mushrooms. So once we get that going, we're basically going to put our rice in there.
Okay. And do you get that a little bit nutty? Is that?
Yeah, we're going to toast the rice up a little bit here, real nice like that.
And it doesn't take long, right?
No.
Okay. Right. Now, can people make a risotto? Say they don't have arborio. Can they make it with other types of rice?
Absolutely. You can make it with any kind of rice you want. You could use, I mean, if you didn't want to do rice, I mean, you can make it with barley. I've seen it with. I mean, it's really the risotto is just a technique that you're going to see here. So we're going to get the rice going like that. Meanwhile, we're going to let that toast. The shank is still rendering. We're going really nice and slow with that, which is okay.
Okay.
So then, once we get the rice in there, go with our mushrooms. You could turn this
and these are the
shiitake and the maitake mushrooms.
Maitake, okay.
Yeah, sometimes the maitake, they're called hen of the woods. So you can find those in your grocery store. They're in season right now. Generally, they're in the spring and the fall. Like I said, these were actually sourced locally.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's always nice to use something when it's in season, because you know the flavor is going to be there. It doesn't travel far.
And speaking of being in season, have your menu here. I looked through your menu, and I've already picked out a few things that I'm ready to have. Like your brunch, the shrimp and the grits sound delicious.
Yeah, the brunch is fantastic. Absolutely. We actually just started the brunch on Saturdays now, so you can come in for brunch on Saturday or Sunday.
Okay.
Serve from 11 till 3 o'clock.
11 to 3, okay.
11 to 3 o'clock. We have a lot of great a la carte items. So, I mean, you come in and we prepare it just the way you like it. We cook eggs to order. We have a great chef's hangover, which is some eggs cooked your way, served over some white cheddar grits. It's fantastic.
And you have good drinks.
Great drinks. Great drinks. We have our bottomless mimosas.
Oh man.
And we have our signature Bloody Mary bar, where you can add all your own special ingredients and make it just the way you like it.
I could hang out there for a couple of hours and Uber home.
Uber home if you need to. Absolutely. That's great.
I love a Bloody Mary bar. So the brunch, you've expanded it to 2 days a week.
2 days a week now. Yeah, it's with great feedback. The guests love coming in. And also, I thought when you come in, I mean, we still offer lunch items on Saturday too. So if you just wanted to come in and have a burger or something like that, we still offer that too.
You can do that. Okay.
Absolutely. So.
Yeah. Well, brunch is hot, and Birmingham is hot.
Yeah, Birmingham is hot. You know, it's a great scene in there. It's very live. You come in there, you'll see. I mean, the bar is always packed. Yeah. Yeah. The food's great. So love to have everybody come down there and check us out.
And the atmosphere as well.
It's very upbeat. It's just a very live scene. So.
Yeah. And 220 Merrill's been around for a while.
Yeah, we've been there for many years. We have a lot of very loyal guests that come back, that returning guests, and we'd love to make new ones. So anytime you want to come down and see us, we'd love to have you. You heard him, Chef Bob. Well, good. And so you're about ready to switch up the menu as well. Yeah, we're getting ready to move into our fall menu. So we have some new items and some new exciting sides coming down there within the next week. Okay. So we're really looking forward to that. It's a great time of year. Fall's really has a lot of great flavors that we're really excited to share with everyone. So. Great. Yeah. So there's a lot of comfort food, right? Lots of comfort food. You're gonna see squash. You're gonna be seeing some nice organic whole roasted chicken. We were featuring sea bass, and now we're gonna be switching. We were featuring halibut, but the halibut is about to go out of season, so we'll be switching over to some sea bass now, which is nice. Okay. Very nice fish. We have our Faroe Island salmon, which is fantastic.
Yeah. What makes it Faroe Island? What separates your?
Faroe Island is just basically where it comes from. Comes from the very cold waters in the North Atlantic.
Okay.
It's a great product. We're very happy to be able to offer it to everyone. It's very consistent, and it's the guests love it. So we would never think about changing that up.
Right. So it's wild caught.
It's wild caught.
How do you feel about farm raised salmon?
Farm raised, farm raised, sometimes it kind of gets a bad note. But then, if you resource responsibly, and there are some really good places out there where you can source good farm raised salmon from. So, there's Schooner Bay, and I mean, there's quite a few out there. So, I mean, you always want to know where it's coming from. That helps, because there is some that's not quite the same quality, or that some people worry about it polluting the waters and stuff like that.
Right.
So you have to do your research, which a lot of people, it's very easy to do nowadays.
Yeah.
It's a very educated consumer, and I think they know what to look for in a product. So.
Right. There's an aquarium out in California, and they have a list. I'm sure you've looked at that.
The Monterey Bay Aquarium. No,
yes.
Absolutely, yes. No, they will tell you that they basically rate things. They rate things by red, yellow, green. Green obviously being very abundant and very it's not on the endangered list. It's sourced very responsibly, and it's not so that's a great way to look and kind of get an idea of what kind of fish that you should select if you're looking, if sustainability is really important to you.
Right.
So.
Yeah, so you don't just cook a lot, you do a lot of research.
Oh, no, absolutely, yeah. I mean, I love, I definitely would take a lot of pride in the ingredients I serve. I like to really treat it with a lot of respect. Somebody really takes the time, raising their beef and, spending a lot of time, raising these vegetables correctly and taking care of the land responsibly. You want to treat the ingredients right. Definitely, it's an honor for me to be able to serve them and to work with them. So.
Have that respect. I love that.
Absolutely.
So you've been slowly adding more.
Yeah, we're going to ladle in the stock here. I got some nice color on that now. So I'm going to start. I'm going to add a little bit of tomato product to the Mirepoix now.
Okay. Is there a name for that?
The tomato product is just basically some ground tomatoes. You could use tomato paste.
Or the process? Is there?
Oh, for adding the tomato paste?
Yeah.
No, we're just
add the tomato paste.
Yeah, what we're doing basically is we're just layering some flavors. The tomato's gonna add some acidity. It's gonna add some color, and it's gonna add some body to the final sauce when we reduce it down and cook it down. So
okay. All right.
A lot of purpose for the tomato product there.
Okay. Can I look?
There? Yeah, sure, absolutely.
Oh yeah, that looks nice.
So we got a little color on there.
We do.
Then we're gonna deglaze with a little bit of the red wine there.
Ooh. And what are your tips about the types of wine? Like the brand, the quality of what you use.
My rule of thumb is obviously you want to use a wine that you're comfortable, that's good enough to drink. I wouldn't use a cooking wine, that sometimes you see in the grocery stores that in some weird bottle that you've never heard of. So something that tastes good is going to cook well. So you don't have to buy a $25 bottle of wine. A simple $5-10 bottle of Cab is great to cook with. You don't need a lot. You just a couple ounces here.
Right.
So we're just going to basically reduce that down a little bit.
And then a little for you, a little for the lamb shank.
Absolutely. If it's good enough to drink, absolutely. That's
wonderful.
The best part. So we're cooking that down nice and slow.
It looks good. Smells good. It smells very nice in here.
Oh yeah, love the smell of the mushroom. The Maitake mushrooms. I mean, they're just absolutely wonderful to work with this time of year.
Okay, gonna have to check that out.
All right, so we got our braised going there. We're gonna cook that wine down a little bit.
Okay.
And then what we have here is some lamb stock that we made ahead of time.
Okay, and now what's your process in making stock?
A good stock comes. You have to use some good quality bones. So what we're going to do is we're going to want to, if we're doing a roasted stock, we want to do we're going to put a nice roast on our bones.
Okay.
We like to use a little tomato product in the process and a little Mirepoix.
Yeah.
And roast that as well. And then we like to just get that in a nice pot and cover it with some nice cold water.
Okay.
And depending on the size of the bones, we might let that roll 8-10 hours. To really develop the flavor. Yeah, I mean, you kind of use the size of the bones as a rule of thumb as far as how long your stocks take. The lamb bones take a little bit longer. Like I said, maybe 8 to 10 hours, 12 hours, depending on if you're using the femur bones or what bones you're exactly using. Whereas something with chicken stock where the bones are a little smaller might only take 3 or 4 hours.
Right.
So.
And bone broth, that's kind of hot right now, isn't it?
Oh, no, absolutely. Yes, absolutely.
What's the appeal of bone broth? Why are people into the bone broth?
It's just, you can't recreate that flavor any other way. I mean, you get that depth of flavor, and there's no other way to recreate. I mean, that's absolutely the foundation of all cooking, all the way back to escoffier is, using the bones to make a great sauce.
Yeah. And the marrow is a big part of that, isn't it?
The marrows, yeah, absolutely.
Is that everything?
Yeah, I mean, that's another item that we like to feature. Sometimes we like to split the bones and actually serve the bone marrow itself.
Just
It's
scrape it out.
absolutely serve it on a nice toasted baguette. It's fantastic. Oh, absolutely.
That sounds delicious.
Absolutely delicious. It absolutely is.
Well, I can tell you have a lot of passion for cooking, and it's never gone away.
It's never gone away. No, absolutely not. I mean, you when you're in the kitchen, I mean, you're there working dinners, you're there working lunches, you're away from your family a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, you sacrifice. You're there for the holidays. So
that's hard.
If you don't really, really, really love it, then you're not gonna
stick with it.
Absolutely, and
it's not going to show in your food, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So what we have there, we covered it with stock. So no, basically what we're gonna do is I got a handful of. I like to use the hard stemmed herbs here.
Okay.
So we have some rosemary, some sage, and some thyme, and a couple of bay leaves.
Okay.
So we're just gonna put that right in the pot like that with the lamb shank. And then we like to cover that with some aluminum foil. You could transfer it to a smaller pan if you like that fit in your oven.
Do you prefer to work with fresh or dry bay? What's the difference?
When it comes to bay leaves, there's not a huge difference.
Okay.
The dry is okay. The fresh is nice too if they're available.
Yeah.
But I would say, when it comes to dried herbs, bay leaves are probably one that you're most of the time you're okay using the dry. But
okay.
If the fresh is available, I say, absolutely go for it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. And if it's fresh, do you use more or less?
Well, with the fresh, you can actually use a little bit more.
More, okay.
Yeah, the dried sometimes they can be a little bit intense, and with losing some of the water weight in them, a tablespoon of fresh is like a teaspoon of dry, basically.
Okay, well that's a good tip to keep in mind, for sure, because I think a lot of people really don't know that unless they're obsessed with the Food Network, which a lot of people are. Cooking's hot. You're like a rock star. You know that, right?
I picked 20 years ago. Nobody ever knew. It's great. I love seeing that on all the TV channels, and like I said, just such an educated consumer nowadays with that's out there. People coming in and asking about where their ingredients are from, and asking about the wild salmon, and if their vegetables are sustainable or if they're organic. That's great. I think that's fantastic that people they should know where their food comes from.
Absolutely. Do you find yourself in the dining room a lot?
Oh, absolutely. I love to go out and visit the tables and make sure everybody's happy and and everything was prepared just the way they liked it. So sometimes it's hard to get out there, but I always make it a point to, especially if somebody I love it when somebody comes in and asks to talk to the chef, even if they just got questions or there's a lot of food allergies nowadays, to come out and talk to them and just to be very clear. With it, I don't have any problem catering to any special needs that they have. So I enjoy that. So.
Well, speaking of being a rock star, we're a classic rock station, and from what I understand, you all listen to 94.7 WCSX in the kitchen.
That's what's always playing in the kitchen. Absolutely. Sometimes I got to tell the guys to turn down a little bit so they can hear me yelling at them. But it's absolutely that is all that's allowed to be played in the kitchen. Actually. So,
oh, that's wonderful.
No, it's great. Yeah,
Any favorite bands?
For the guys, they play a lot of Creedence, and for me personally, I think my favorite is the Doors. For a long time. Yeah,
definitely. Have you ever gone on culinary tours? Have you ever been to France?
No, I haven't had a chance to go overseas yet.
But you will.
I'd love to, absolutely. I love doing farm visits. So I've went and actually visited some of the farms, some of the local farmers, and got to see their process and how they're treating the soil and how they're responsibly handling the ingredients, which is great. I love being able to go out and actually see it and get in the field with my hands. It's fantastic.
Yeah, great. Okay, so we've got the risotto is looking wonderful.
Yeah, it's getting nice and creamy. Basically, when you're doing the risotto, you just want to keep ladling the stock in a little bit at a time. We want to cook it till right about that point right there where it almost starts to get a little bit dry in the bottom.
Okay.
So you can see that the rice that has been absorbed.
So is it a myth that you have to stand over a risotto pot for an hour and a half?
No, absolutely not. The risotto takes about 22, 23 minutes to cook it. There's shortcuts around it if you really wanted to. You could go in the oven slow and just open the oven every 5-6 minutes and kind of give it a stir at a very controlled temperature.
Okay, so there's more than one way.
Yeah, there's more than one way to do it. This is very traditional, just to kind of slowly cook it over the stove. Like I said, it doesn't take very long. So this way you can kind of monitor it really nice and just get it right to the point where you like, because you definitely want to keep it a little bit on the al dente side. So.
Right.
So with the braise here, like I said, it's a combination cooking method. So when we go to put it in the oven, I like to cook my braises right around 250 degrees.
Okay.
And most cuts, it's going to take about 2.5 hours. You could definitely go a little bit longer if you get to that 225 mark. You could probably make it 3 or 4. And like I said, in a crock pot, you could put it on low, and I mean you could leave it for literally like 8 or 10 hours. Absolutely, it would be just fine.
So is this something that you would start before service, obviously?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We would start this before dinner service, and then we could just basically just hold it right. I mean, it's going to create its own wonderful cooking liquid right there. So I mean, it's a matter of just what we would do is just take it out of the pan and cook it right down with the sauce, because it's a natural sauce made with the bones. When you reduce it, it just really intensifies the flavor, and it creates a lot of body in the sauce. So it's kind of basically how it's made. It's very simple. So you get a sauce and a dish all in one pan, so it's great.
And so, what's your kind of rule of thumb? Like, you want to stick to simplicity but quality? Is that
absolutely?
What I'm getting?
I think that's big nowadays, right now too, man. It's just, I mean, cooking simply. I mean, you just let the ingredients shine. Using minimal ingredients, and just work on getting some flavors out of there, and just being simple with it. You don't need to add 20. 10, 15 ingredients to a dish to make it great. Just keep it simple.
When you watch the food channels, do you sometimes get a little crazy with some of these things?
I love seeing.
You seem pretty laid back.
Everybody's got their own style. I appreciate everybody. Whether it's Italian or Asian. Definitely some of them aren't my strengths, but I mean, I definitely enjoy watching it, and I appreciate it for what it is.
What would you say your strengths are?
My strengths, I mean, being in the kitchen. Obviously, I would say, regional American cuisine, and that's,
So you're a perfect fit for 220 Merrill in Birmingham.
Absolutely. I mean, with American cuisine nowadays, I mean, there's been a lot of influence of, flavors from other countries. I mean, you're seeing Indian influence, you're seeing Asian influence, I mean, all across the world, these flavors, these new flavors that everybody's being introduced to. So it's okay, to be using the garam masalas and, these spices that nobody's ever heard of before, and incorporate them into, our, this regional American cuisine. And still, it's still American cuisine, but we just get to play with some new flavors, so it's great. It
seems like the average human being has a much more heightened sense about food right now, and that has to be exciting as the chef.
No, it's great. Like I said, it's people want to come in and try new things, and it's sometimes people, I mean, they know the ingredients, they see them nowadays. You think, wow, I'm really impressed that they know what it is. That's great. That's just from the fact that that it's out there. And you can turn on TV and it's in your face, so it's, like I said, it's great.
So you have a couple of kids. You have
3 kids.
3 kids.
3 kids, yeah.
And how are do you feel that because their dad is a chef, that they have a heightened palate?
I wouldn't say heightened palate, but I mean, they definitely...
or appreciation of food?
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. I mean, my daughter, she's probably, I would consider the most risky when it comes to food. She'd pretty much try anything I'd put in front of them. The boys are a little bit more reserved.
Yeah.
But I mean, they'll try it, and I think they've really been surprised with some of the stuff that they've eaten and liked, So it's great to be able to introduce them to new things. And,
that's exciting.
Get them in the kitchen and
cooking with me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I like to sometimes bring them into the restaurant, and if I can, which is few and far between, but even in the kitchen at home, they love to come in there. And I mean, really, baking cookies is their favorite thing to do. My secret chocolate chip cookie recipe. But
ooh, secret.
Yeah,
well, I'd ask you, but it's a secret.
Making chocolate chip cookies is probably one of their favorite things. They actually like to just take the dough. We call it cookie carpaccio. We basically roll and freeze the raw cookie dough, and then we shave it real nice and thin.
Nice.
That's like one of their favorites. So yeah, no, it's great.
Do you think any of them will become chefs?
It's possible. My oldest is showing some interest in it now. He's getting to that age where they offer VOTEC at school, and then culinary is one of the programs they offer. It's really popular right now. It's kind of hard to get in.
Really?
Yeah, it's full. Like every year for them so far. But if it's whatever they want to do. It's if they're passionate about it. It's like I said, it's just one of them things. It's got to be in your blood. It's not what you see on TV. That's for sure. They kind of glamorize it a lot. So.
Oh, they do glamorize it because it is hot in there, and you are on your feet for
so many
hours.
Long days, absolutely. So there's a lot more to it than what you see on TV.
You must be completely exhausted at the end of a shift. I mean,
actually, most of the time, I'm amped up. I gotta come home. It's I gotta relax. I need to sit down on the couch. It's and just bring myself down a little bit, even after a really long day. Yeah, so
because it's a rush.
Absolutely,
you're on the fly. You're
just absolutely. You're moving, thinking.
Yeah.
Coaching other members of the team.
Yeah.
And, so.
And I'm sure you enjoy that, being a mentor.
Oh no, absolutely. At this stage, absolutely, it's great to be able to work with some of the younger chefs nowadays and kind of work and watch them grow and develop. No, that's definitely one of better satisfaction with the job as you go through it. So
Wonderful. Okay, so what's next for the risotto?
well,
Where do we
risotto
go
here,
from
we're getting really close here. I'm just
Okay.
going to taste a little bit of it.
Yes.
So keep that up there. Got some
Here, I have a
tasting spoons.
You have a spoon? Okay. Can I try it too?
Absolutely. It's getting close. We're going to need some salt and pepper in there.
Yes. Some people are afraid of salt. They shouldn't be afraid of salt.
No, absolutely not.
It's how important, can you express?
Salt is probably the single most important ingredient in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's the most important ingredient in your kitchen. The salt is so versatile with what it can do with cooking.
Explain what it does, like what it will do to.
I mean, you can everything from increasing the flavor. Over when you actually bite into it, you're gonna actually it's gonna hit that salt on your taste buds. So it's gonna make the flavors pop. But I mean, as far as it's been used since the dawn of time. At one time, I think it was worth more than gold.
Right.
As far as because it was used to preserve food. So it's just so versatile.
Yeah.
You have to be careful with it, obviously, with seasoning foods, because like I said, it was used to preserve food, so you don't want to salt your food too soon because it actually will draw out some of the moisture. So you don't want to do that. So it's not good to salt meat and let it sit in the fridge overnight. You don't want to do that unless you're looking to pull liquid out of it.
Right. What about mushrooms and salting? Like if you're just going to do a saute for a steak.
With mushrooms, the nice thing about mushrooms is they're one of the few ingredients that naturally contain natural MSG, which isn't the bad stuff that you hear about where the people add to it. So that they add a very strong depth of flavor. It's called the umami, which is that fifth sense that they realize. So you have to be careful when salting them because they are so flavorful, and like I said, they naturally contain the MSG, so they don't need a lot of salt. And actually, cooking with them, that's another way to add flavor without having to use so much salt and pepper. So.
Okay, that's a great tip. That's a wonderful tip. So now once this is where you want it.
Yep, so we're getting pretty
you
close
have some
there.
Finishes?
We got that liquid. Yeah, we got some finishes there.
Okay.
We're just going to finish that with a couple of pats of butter here. We got some nice chilled butter.
Okay.
We're just going to stir in a couple of pieces like that, maybe a little bit more. So we got just like that.
And the butter does?
It's just going to make it really, really nice and creamy. I mean, if you're watching your calories, obviously you can omit this part, but I mean, this is what really makes it nice and creamy when we get down to this point here. We're stir in a little butter. You can just see what's happening there.
Oh, yeah. Very creamy.
Very
You can
creamy.
hear it.
Oh, yeah. That's the best part right there.
That is. It looks really wonderful, and it tasted wonderful, even without the seasoning.
So then we got our Parmesan cheese, some freshly grated Parmesan cheese.
Okay. Is that the king of all cheeses, Parmigiano Reggiano?
Parmigiano Reggiano,
okay.
yeah, absolutely. So then we got that there.
And you don't use the stuff from the shaker.
No, do not. Please don't use that. No, absolutely not.
I heard that it has wood chips in it.
Did
you hear that?
Yeah, some of them I wouldn't be surprised. It's definitely doesn't taste like any cheese that I've had before. So
right.
I wouldn't definitely not recommend that.
Get the real stuff and grate it.
Absolutely, nowadays, absolutely,
it's well worth it, right?
Absolutely. You can use less, and it's so much better. That's it. We're just going to turn that off and let that finish there.
Okay. And what are we doing with this?
The fresh herbs we're going to finish. We're going to garnish our lamb shank with that. So.
Should we pull the finished one out?
Absolutely. So
okay.
We'll clear a spot here.
Yes. You can use a couple of those towels if you'd like.
Yep.
Okay. The finished lamb shank is coming out.
So we got quite a few here. Because
you do.
We're gonna eat really good today.
Wow.
We got a few right in there.
Look at that. It looks like it's created a nice gravy.
Very nice pan sauce that it creates, and we could just further cook that down, and it's just gonna get just nice and thick and full of flavor there.
Okay. And your root veg, what do you have in there?
So we have some root vegetables here. What I have in here is some rutabaga, some carrots, and some turnips.
Rutabaga, carrots, and turnips. Okay,
yep,
nice.
Parsnips. Yep, you could use celery root, whatever you like. So.
Okay.
Yep. So we got this here. So what we'll do?
Should we plate? Should I get a plate out?
Yeah, we can plate right into this if you like.
Oh, okay. Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So we got this here.
Okay. What do you need? Anything?
Just take a serving spoon.
Okay.
Here.
Butter on the fly.
That's right. So I'm gonna just ladle some risotto in there. Like I said, I really like to use risotto whenever I do a braise because it brings a little bit of texture to the dish because the meat's going to be so nice and tender. I like to have a nice little bit of contrast in texture. So the risotto is going to give you just a little bit of bite that you need there.
It's beautiful.
So we got that there.
Beautiful. I was just kind of showing it to the
absolutely. Got a
camera.
root veg.
And
then these are
do you have
just-
asbestos hands?
Yes, I do. Absolutely, I do. Years in the kitchen it takes to get those. So we got our nice braised lamb shank there. You can always tell the easiest way to tell. You can see how nice and white that bone
Okay,
got. That's
I'm gonna turn it
a
around
sure sign.
so everyone can
ladle
see
here.
it. Look at that. Now that's a nice
Fantastic.
fall meal
Absolutely.
right there.
We got a little pan sauce here. We can ladle right in over the top.
And there's nothing else you have to do to that sauce. It's ready to go.
Absolutely. I mean, you could taste it. If you wanted to cook it down a little bit more, you could.
Yeah.
But it looks great. So I think we're ready to go. So then we'll just finish that. I have some of the herbs that we used in the beginning of the braised process, the rosemary, sage, and thyme.
Rosemary, sage, and thyme. Oh, that's beautiful.
And we're just going to garnish the top like that.
It's absolutely
It's simple.
gorgeous.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for preparing this delicious meal. 220 Merrill in Birmingham. Chef Bob Gordon.
Thank you very much for having me.
Impressed.
Thank
This
you
is
very much.
wonderful. Me and the crew, we're going to be in. And
Absolutely.
we're so glad. Is there a website for the restaurant?
There is a website, 220merrill.com.
And it's Merrill.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And like I said, be watching for that new menu. It's going to be out probably sometime next week.
Okay.
And come on in and ask for me. I'd love to come out and talk to you. And look forward to seeing you there soon.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks to everyone for watching CSX in the Kitchen. We appreciate you being here. See you next time.